Liverpool 2, Chelsea 1.
What a game.
They keep winning. Slot. They return to the top of the Premier League. And was this their first real test, Vish, in the Premier League? I mean, Nottingham Forest would say, what are you talking about? We won there. But in terms of big sides and big players and big badges.
And big ideas.
Big stadiums and big hot dogs.
Was this their first big test in the Prem?
Yeah, I mean, I was going to throw my team in. I was going to throw my team in there. But actually, they did that they beat Manchester United 3-0 with such... 7 out of 10ness that I suppose this was the big test, and I suppose it means a lot that it's at Anfield as well. But albeit against the Chelsea side who's still trying to work out what they are. But no, I think so. I think the way they came back from Chelsea's start in the second half was impressive. But then I thought maybe you could throw that at Chelsea's door as well, because it felt like they started well and then they didn't really build. They started well, they got an equaliser and they didn't really build on it. But it was a really weird game, enjoyably weird.
I thought it was a great game. I thought it was a game where two teams at Anfield, because on paper this is a big game.
Oh, yeah.
And they understand the assignment of the last game on the Sunday, and it's El Telly.
It's a big game again, because do you remember when it was last on Match of the Day and it was a 0-0 and it felt like a mid-table game? And this is strange.
That's wrong.
Well, both sides are back.
They are back in big style. And both teams understood the assignment. And Marcus, you were particularly enthused to see the return of the great Reece James as well.
I was.
See him on there.
He was obviously taken off in the second half, but Enzo Maresca talked about managing minutes and so on and so forth. But really, the one I was incredibly enthused by, and I think we all were, was Curtis Jones. I mean, Peter, Curtis Jones.
Curtis Jones.
Could he be the man that gets England promoted from Group B in the Nations League?
He sounds like a guy who, if someone says to you the name Curtis Jones, if you're roughly our age,
Cobbler.
No, I think
he's fighting some sort of crime or
mid-90s power ballad. That's what I think.
Yeah,
he's done a song in the 90s with a saxophone in it.
He's doing a tour.
You're basically thinking of Curtis Stigers.
And there's another one with Jones in the it's a surname.
There was another one with Jones.
Yeah, there was.
I think 70s Soul Star.
Yeah,
doing a tour of Blackpool night spots in the 70s.
I'm surprised you haven't.
2000s.
I'm
Northern
surprised
Soul
you
Revival.
haven't thought about some sort of vigilante like Casey Jones, but there we go.
Ooh, like
Casey and Curtis.
I think we're getting off topic, but he was the man of the match. He was the mom, and there's no two ways about that.
It's actually player of the match now.
Pom.
So
is that right?
Potham.
Potham.
Yeah.
Graham Potham of the match. He won the penalty and scored the winning goal. Just his second league start of the season, Peter.
Yeah, and he's just had a baby this week. So
hence the celebration.
You two didn't turn in any kind of performance when you guys had just become
I'm still
new
not.
dads.
I'm 17 and a half months in. I've done
You're doing 7 out of 10s.
I'm still coming to terms with it.
No, that was one of the things they talked about post-match, is how Curtis Jones put Luke and I to shame with that. But he was brilliant, and he makes a lot of intelligent runs late into the box. A la sort of, I say Frank Lampard, he's slightly different, but do you know what I mean, Vish? He's got that. It's funny because you look at the positions he takes up on the pitch, and some people might say, is he playing in a kind of deeper role? But the way he gets forward, I mean, he covers so much ground. Very impressive.
Yeah, like you said Lampard. I mean, like the obvious comparison to make is Gerrard. There was a moment yesterday where he makes a very good tackle. Going towards his own goal, just in his own half, turns and clearly has a moment of like, bloody hell, I'm having a brilliant game here. Yeah. I might go all the way with this, and then basically runs into trouble. I think he ends up getting the foul, which he shouldn't have got. But it was really impressive. I think he's the kind of player, along with Harvey Elliott, who has allowed them to cover. I've mentioned this a few times before, but he's allowed them to cover for a few errors in recruitment, say, where I think of someone like Keita specifically, who they brought in to like fix himself in, and it didn't quite work out, and then two players like Elliott and Jones come in through their youth system and help them plug that gap to a point, or Fulham's youth system.
Can I just add to that I think Ryan Gravenberch's been brilliant this season.
Yeah, he has.
That's been a big part of it as well.
Jim's a big fan as well.
He's great.
And I suppose if you lose Gravenberch from his, a further forward position, you need someone else to come and fill in that slot, if you will. And Jones has done that really well. He's always been an exciting player, though. And I think having a performance like this in an important game at home might do many things for many different reasons across this season, but it might be quite big for him to be able to think, right, I've got that under my belt. I need to do more of that every time I get a start.
Do you think that with a new manager you get a bit more kind of rope to kind of find your own way a little bit?
I think it seems like a reset, doesn't it? It feels
Fresh eyes,
like a reset. Yeah. I also think it's worth saying that he's obviously still very young, and we are in some way those of us who aren't Liverpool fans, seeing him and going, bloody hell, in a big game at Anfield, he's done so well. He's basically dragged Liverpool through some difficult moments and they've won the game, and he's been man of the match. But it's partly because he feels like a player who's continually reintroduced to us because he seems to miss games.
A bit of injuries.
He's had like 3 or 4 injuries over the last season and a bit now, where he's been out for a decent while. I think I was reading earlier today that he's missed something like 17 or 18 games in the last however many seasons in at Liverpool. So I think it's just 1 and a bit seasons. So that's part of it as well. But I think he's a great player. I think you guys have talked about Gerrard and Lampard. That's probably, I understand why you're doing that.
Well, I was specifically talking about the late runs into the box.
Yeah, because that's what I was going to say, because he's basically got all of that in his locker. He can do a bit of everything. It's hard to say really specifically what type of midfield player he is.
I know what you mean.
So I was super impressed with him. I was also... weird enough, because I know Liverpool kind of came back and they rallied and they got it done. I was, in a weird way, I don't know if you guys understand what I mean when I say this, I hope you do. I was really impressed with how coherent Chelsea are.
Well, there was a lot of talk about they're a load of individuals and they're trying to sort of find their way.
They're actually decent.
I get that to an extent.
They were decent without having to rely on Cole Palmer.
Yeah,
and I appreciate you can flip that and say, Cole Palmer was very ineffective.
He had one of his quietest games.
Yeah, and he missed that chance as well.
He did miss it, but it was kind of like he was unmarked in the 18, but there were attending defenders almost immediately, and he had to get a shot away, and it was kind of like...
Yeah, I think because of what we've seen from him, though, you were like, oh, that's...
You saw his reaction. You saw his reaction.
Yeah,
I mean, but he's the type of chap who, if he shoots from kickoff, he expects to score.
Yeah,
and you understand why that. But you're right, though. I think, again, I've been...
You've been very positive about them. That's
well, I think Chelsea have been pretty good this season, considering all the stuff that's happened in the couple of seasons going into this one. And I always thought Maresca is a good operator, and he has a style, and he will implement it at some point. And I think people are saying, better is yet to come with Chelsea, and I agree with that. I think that when the more he's there, it's the classic thing, it will begin to really show.
This is the sort of result that basically says, right, Liverpool are up here and Chelsea are here, and they should both be pretty satisfied with the result, one would suggest, with how Chelsea have kind of operated in the last couple of years.
Yeah, well, I mean, you think about Slot going into Liverpool. I mean, it was a little bit more. I mean, it was a huge job and blah 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 blah. The squad, the situation, the feeling was all set up for the next guy to come in and succeed. You can't really say that about Chelsea.
No.
They haven't even got a shirt sponsor.
I think it's fair to say. But they've got a lovely kit. I do like that.
They've got a lovely kit, and it looks even better when it doesn't have a shirt sponsor.
Exactly.
But they should be reaching out and putting the Football Ramble on there. We've always been very supportive about the Chelsea fans. We've always had a good love for them.
Yeah.
And I think they need to repay the debt.
I don't think they...
by getting us to pay them.
Yeah.
We've been hammering them for 10 plus years.
Yeah.
And you think in response they should put our name on their shirt?
Yeah.
It would be brilliant though if they did
prove
that.
They're not
right.
nasty little fuckers.
Yeah.
You're going to continue to hammer us?
You know that thing earlier about the stuff in your head that you're scared of saying? Yeah.
Thin end of the wedge.
Get me in the boardroom.
I'd love that.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm on board with that straight away. Can I ask a question of you guys about Tosin's challenge on Jota?
Yes.
Because the commentary that I saw of it said, I think it might have been a referee that came in and gave the assessment. But to me, it looked very similar to the Saliba thing at Arsenal, which we're going to come on to. But the commentator said it was completely different and the decision was correct. I think, and I'm trying to speak on behalf of football fans here, if I may for a second, I think football fans, and I include myself in this, if you watch 2 Premier League games of the weekend and you see 2 decisions as similar as that, and you go, one's a yellow and one's a red, I think it's very, very difficult to understand why. And I think it doesn't help the whole debate when that stuff happens.
I mean, I agree with Luke to the point that both decisions on the field were yellow cards, because the Saliba one was overturned, but that was a mistake. The Saliba one should have been a red card. And when I saw the Jota one in real time, I thought, is that not exactly the same? And then because it was only a yellow, I ended up doing basically the gymnastics in my head where I was like, well, I suppose Colwell's nearby. It's he's not central. It's a bit further away, and I suppose importantly, he doesn't have the same head start on Saliba that Evan Nielsen had on Saliba, because the pass comes from Trossard, so it doesn't matter if he's offside.
Yeah.
But then I was like, is that enough for it not to be a red card? And I mean, I kind of think so, but they did look at it back. But I could totally understand what Luke's saying in terms of there wasn't much between them.
Can I add a bit further? Because Marcus, it'd be interesting your take on this. But I would also say in both those situations, I was happy with a yellow. I think it's so far out that I think the clue is in the name, denying of an obvious goal scoring opportunity. It's not obvious.
Yep.
It's too far away. So I'm happy for them both to be yellows. Arteta, we'll do the game, I'm sure, but Arteta's kind of refused to give any comment in it whatsoever. To me, they're both yellows. I don't really care about that specifically, though. What I care about is the fact that they should come up with the same result.
Well, perhaps the difference was Howard Webb was at one game and not the other.
Well, people were going tinfoil hat about that.
They were.
We'll hear about what Matt Letizia thinks about that later.
Indeed, we will. Well, he was just given a booking for the cynical foul on Jota, and there was a fair few incidences in this game where the VAR got involved, having to check a lot of stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was a penalty. I think we could agree the foul on Curtis Jones.
And there's a second penalty awarded that was overturned, wasn't there, for Sanchez? Yeah,
Curtis Jones involved in both.
Sanchez had a weird game, didn't he?
I thought they got those two decisions right, though.
They did, but the thing was, to follow up on your point about Sanchez, Vish, ultimately, the experience Sanchez has had in that game up to that point meant that Curtis Jones was able to score the winner because Sanchez is so hesitant.
Yeah, well, and he was in that moment, wasn't he? I mean, Theo Walcott said that on Match of the Day too, that you want your goalkeeper to be a little bit more front-footed there because I understand it's difficult, but you can see he has time to see what's going to happen. Yeah, Jones is not going to hit that first time.
I think he's hesitant. I think if it happens in the first minute, he's
quite possibly. Good win for Liverpool though. They're top of the league, of course. Can they stay there? I mean, Gary Neville was saying, "No, Arsenal are still Manchester City's main rivals." I think Liverpool can go the distance. I know Slot talked about. This was a bigger test. I mean, you've got players coming back from international. I know everybody does, but that sort of doggedness and sort of grittiness, if you like, that Liverpool displayed there, I think that all bodes well. I can see them going the distance.
They've beaten everyone that they're supposed to have beaten, with the exception of Nottingham Forest, right? I think they've had the best start to a season since 1990-91, right?
Well, here's another stat for you. Slot has won 10 of his first 11 games in charge. In the Premier League era, only Pep Guardiola has reached 10 wins in fewer games.
Sure, which is an amazing thing to do. But I think when you saw the fixture list published at the start of the season, you'd be thinking, okay,
it's a kinder start than it might have been.
Yeah, and now it starts to get tough, right? But I think you have to
build momentum.
You have to acknowledge what they've done. They need to kind of go through the gears, and this was the first big test, as you already said at the start, and we'll see where they land in a month or two. But I've been really impressed, not just by the results, but the way that Slot's carried himself, the way he's occupied that role after such a big character. He's clearly not the same character as Klopp. It would have been quite easy for him to kind of fall into that trap of trying to do like a Klopp impression and get into this situation that you see Erik ten Hag in, where he doesn't really know what he's doing, he doesn't know how to deal with the media, doesn't really know how to deal with anything. So I think he's been incredible. I think he's been, so far, it's looked like a really shrewd piece of recruitment from Liverpool, because they've gone, this guy, he is different, but he's calm, he's pretty serene. There'll be a lot of upheaval at the club because Klopp's moved on, because he's such a big character. What we need is a really steady guy who's not going to go in there and try and stamp all over everything and go, this is my team now. He's clearly looked at big parts of that team and gone, that's fine. I don't touch that.
The kind of he's the Paisley to the Shankly.
Seems like it. That's a big, but I wouldn't say that at this point, because that's too high a praise.
I thought I'd be a little bit naughty.
Yeah, what you've done there is you showed the listeners that you know about old football as well.
Oh yeah,
and that's good.
Absolutely right.
It's not just the 90s.
Oh, speaking of the 90s, I want to talk about David James.
Right.
Oh yeah, saving the penalties
in the warm up. Either the warm up or the half time.
Probably half time.
Yeah, he
didn't have that in the warm up.
Yeah, it probably would be half time.
Go on, Diogo, have a shot.
Bit odd. Bit odd.
Salah's practicing.
So at half time, they're the kid in the Liverpool shirt, the Liverpool kit, taking penalties at the Kop end.
Right.
And I guess it's like, it's part of the mascot experience. And this kid, he's really young. It's hard to see from the angle, but he's really young. And he takes a penalty, quite a nice strike. And David James obviously saves it because he's massive and he's still in good nick. And he probably does really need the money. So he wanted to do the shot.
Bad investments.
But he's already got that. It's not on how many penalties he saves.
No, but someone might see it and go, I'm taking a chance on him. 1 year deal.
They're playing Queven Kelleher today. They'll probably get a game.
And the second, and obviously everyone boos. The second penalty the kid gets to take, David James tries to not save it, but still inadvertently saves it.
No, he tries to dive and the kid puts it down fairly central, and then James at the last second just thinks, yeah, well, I was a fierce competitor in my day. Boom, and he saves it.
I thought it was poor.
He turned around and was like, well, what do you expect?
That kid's a fucking idiot.
Yeah. Maybe he spoke to the kid before, just didn't like him. And said, I'm not giving him anything, this kid. He doesn't deserve it. Yeah. He's not a good person just because he's a kid.
That's true.
Instantly.
It's not a lottery anymore. These kids should know exactly where to put the ball.
The kid's changed his mind on the right. That's his problem.
Never do that.
One of the
never glug a good wine. Never change your mind for a penalty.
No. One of the biggest pairs of hands I've ever shook.
Yeah.
Oh.
David James.
What makes up the other top three?
David James.
Yeah.
Chris Eubank.
Oh, good one.
yeah.
Pete's is Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
Then Barrymore. Then
You did it. You did this.
You did
Michael Barrymore, not Drew
Michael
Barrymore.
Barrymore. Not Drew Barrymore. I imagine
yeah.
he's got very dainty hands. Drew
And it was
Barrymore.
just his hands that he shook, wasn't it?
Why have you done this?
And then the third one.
One for the live show. That's all I'm
And
saying.
the third one was a police officer.
I have shaken
police
David
officer.
James's hand, so maybe that he's in my top three as well.
It must be.
Yeah.
Must be. And a very impressive top three.
He took a pen against me. Absolutely. He scored. Fuck me. Did he ever?
What situation was this?
Isle of Wight Festival needed the money.
You or him?
Yeah.
Both of us.
Did you bet on him scoring? And he was like, yeah, of course I will. Oh, no, he didn't understand
We'll
it.
split the money.
10-month ban.
Yeah. Blimey, O'Reilly, Peter. That's amazing
Blimey,
insight.
O'Reilly.
What was so good about Hacksaw Jim Duggan's hand?
They were just absolutely massive.
come
Oh, well, he has to carry around a lot of wood all the time.
He
I
carried a
suppose,
2x4, didn't he?
Two by
Yeah.
four.
Yeah.
Good grip strength.
Gentlemen, back to the football, if I may. Obviously, Liverpool are top of the league, and it was Manchester City though who were top of the league on Saturday night. They beat Wolves Wanderers 2-1, and another stoppage time goal from John Stones secured the 3 points. Obviously, a bit of controversy.
Secured
there.
the bag. What was the controversy, Marcus?
That a decision went against Wolves again, I think.
Right, okay, yeah.
I mean, it didn't. When I saw it, I thought, well, obviously that goal's fine.
Yeah.
I mean, Bernardo Silva was offside. Yes, he has a little bit of shove-in with the goalkeeper and then realises, oh, yeah, we're about to score and I'll get the hell out of here and the job's good.
But when
He
you
has
do
his
that
cake.
against a man like Gag,
Yeah. Because the goal was initially disallowed, of course, because...
Because the assistant referee flagged.
thought Bernardo Silva was...
do you reckon that makes it worse for Wolves, though?
Yeah,
the
of
fact
course.
that situation, they think it's disallowed, and then they have to deal with the fact that it's actually been given.
Do you think do you think it's better for Man City because they got two celebrations?
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? It's pleasing. Because in the highlight reel, when you're a player,
Yeah.
the highlight reel at the end of your career,
That's right.
people are going to think you scored twice as many goals. Here I am again.
We're married, have it.
Stones bloody loves it, doesn't he?
Yeah.
He
Oh, yeah.
absolutely loves it. He's good for a header, as we know.
What I like about this Manchester City team is that because it comes along with Pep and because Man City have got this reputation, etc., all of which is largely fair, they are a team, and I don't think this is talked about enough, so I'm going to do it now.
Do it, bruv.
They are a team who just pull stuff out the fire and get it done, and they're
That's
not
true.
proud to
Yes.
do it from a set piece. You think I think it was the winner they scored against Brentford. Edison lumps it to Haaland,
Yeah.
who scores. Edison gets an assist.
Yeah.
But then
But Edison, I mean, is...
It takes the pressure off, though, doesn't it? That you don't feel like you're beneath a particular kind of goal or
Yeah.
leaving it really fucking late as well.
Yeah, but I also think that there's an element of and maybe they used to be like this and I've just forgotten that they've changed a bit now, or people haven't realised they've changed now. Manchester City under Pep sometimes are accused of being a team that if they're at 1-1 and they need a winner and they've got a goal kick, the centre back split and they play it slow and they knock it about 15 passes when they could go up there. They don't actually do that. They make things happen in whatever way they need to.
But Guardiola's an incredible character, as we know, but of course he's got his influences, and Bielsa's one he's talked about a lot. But then there was Carl Walker talking on the BBC how Pep Guardiola was really keen to meet Neil Warnock and Sam Allardyce.
Just to get some more insight.
Well, exactly.
Yeah.
I
bet Sam loved that, didn't
he? Well, Neil did.
I bet Big Sam took that call.
But it's incredible the way, as you say, that they managed to do that. But it didn't stop Gary O'Neil being a bit pissed off.
No.
Did you see the quote? Well, there was a number of
Did
quotes.
I see the quote? 3 different people sent it to me. And if you've not heard the quote, people listening, you'll understand why they sent it to me.
There is no chance that people are doing things against Wolves on purpose.
No.
You'd think then he would talk about something else. But then he goes on and he says, but there is something in the subconscious. I mean, are you more likely to give it to Man City than Wolves? Okay. See, we're getting dangerously close to contradicting.
Get to the end of the quote because I'm going to support him.
If you had to upset someone in the street and there was a little guy and a big guy, I'm upsetting the little guy. Nothing against little guys, but there is something in there.
If you wanted to upset someone in the street,
It's not even like assault, it's just upset.
Upset them.
How do you upset a little guy?
I don't like those trousers.
Yeah.
I don't know about you, Pete and Vish, but I immediately thought, well, what about Jackie Chan?
Yeah.
what about Danger Mouse?
How do you upset these little guys?
Yeah.
Vish, steal his fags, me, spill my energy drink.
And I'm not a little guy, so I don't get.
I know,
I don't
you're not
fucking
upset, you're the big guy.
Not
How do you
upset
upset
at
a
all.
big guy?
I'm always upset. I'm always upset.
Yeah. You have like sort of, it's like
He's like
background
the Hulk.
radiation.
You're like the Hulk.
I just feel like when I started doing this whole thing, I wasn't fully aware across how much time I'd have to spend with you.
Yeah.
Can I support Gary O'Neil here?
Yeah.
You'd expect me to.
About the little guy.
He's a big guy.
No, go on. No,
How big is Gary?
Let's hear what Luke's got
I
to
think
say.
there have been studies that have shown that referees do tend to favour, perhaps subconsciously,
Manchester United.
It's either the home team or the bigger team. I forget which one it is.
Yeah, he's
so it does happen.
It's nothing new what he's saying.
It does happen.
It does happen, but it's not applicable for this situation.
Right,
because the right decision was made.
I think it broadly happens. Yes, of course it does.
Yeah.
But I don't think it's applicable here.
I don't see how anybody could have.
It was actually quite. I thought it was quite smart from Bernardo Silva, as you described. The sequence of events there, because he has his cake and eats it too, because he gets the nudge in and then has I suppose the wherewithal to think, I'm in no man's land here, and that could cost us something serious.
And it's a shame.
Out the way.
A shame for Wolves, obviously, and a shame for Sarr, who had a brilliant game.
Yeah, although this is not going to give Gary O'Neil or Wolves fans, any extra hope. But was this not as good a defeat as it could have been?
I know what you mean.
Considering where they are in the league and how things have gone.
Vish, I think it's good news. And when I saw, I'll tell you why. But before I do, I'll say. But when I saw Gary O'Neil kicking off again about these decisions, I thought, just keep your head down.
Yeah,
you've had an absolute stinking start to the season because of the fixtures. The best you can hope for coming out of this run, because they've got some much easier games coming up. They're coming up. They've got Palace at home and Southampton at home. If you just keep your head down, don't make the headlines about you, because you know what the Premier League can be like, and get through this with your job intact. And no one's even really talking about his job because there's other big stories. Just fucking get on with it. 2-1 against Man City. It's not the end of the world. Just move past it. I know he's annoyed in the immediate aftermath. I get all that because he's a competitor. But he is in a position now where he's got through that. And if he can still got the loyalty and the belief of the players, they can get through this Brighton game next. Maybe try and get out of that with something. But after that, they've got some winnable games, and they can their season can properly start. So Gary, just keep your head down. Don't make a name for yourself,
and don't highlight us little guys as
targets. Don't use
he's not a big guy, is he?
Well, he's 5'8". I've just had a Google.
Yeah,
there's also a Gary O'Neil who's a karate man as well, so I wouldn't fuck with him.
No, it's good to know. Maybe they can switch it out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, just a note to everyone: if you're going to call out a Gary O'Neil, make sure you get the right one.
Exactly, an Australian kickboxer. You don't need him.
No, not that one.
You mean Gaz O'Neil, the Australian kickboxer?
Indeed. Coming up after this, another red card for those naughty boys at Arsenal.
It's a championship venue, so no VAR tonight.
Welcome back to the Football Ramble, everybody. That was Danny Murphy.
The most excited Danny Murphy's ever been.
Yeah, thanks to friend of the Ramble, Swedish House Furniture, for sending us that clip. You can become a friend of the Ramble too by heading over to patreon.com/Football Ramble. You'll get access to the Discord where you can chat with us and other Ramble listeners and get ad-free episodes of the Ramble up front and on the continent. And of course, a reminder that if you want to get in touch with your stories, questions for the mailbag, or in response to anything at all, then email us show@footballramble.com. That's show@footballramble.com.
Oi!
I forgot about that.
Do other podcasts still ask for emails?
Yeah. If you want to email other podcasts, it's show@footballramble.com.
Actually, if you do email them as well, CC on us.
Yeah.
Maybe blind CC us.
Bournemouth 2, Arsenal 0, Vish.
Yeah.
How about that?
Do you remember it wasn't that long ago, but at the live show...
Weeks ago.
Yeah. Weeks are a long time in Football Ramble. But we did a lovely little Q&A at the start for our Patreon.
Oh, no, it's for our VIPs.
For our VIPs. And there was a woman there who asked me a question in quite a confrontational way.
She asked a lot of questions.
Why when Manchester United lose, are you not on the show on Mondays? And I was like, that's not the case. We get it in ahead of time.
Dodging it.
And yet here I am asking the same question about Jim Campbell.
Yeah, where is Jim Campbell?
And rightly so.
Where is Jim Campbell?
I think Jim almost was as well, because there was some discrepancy between the calendar and the dates I've been sent. So last night I was going, Rory.
Oh, really? It's funny that
yeah,
happening.
Rare that it's not my fault.
A discrepancy between
the calendar that I can see.
Your calendar.
Your calendar. My calendar. And the actual calendar that,
Pete's
I don't work
in his own head and it's on a fucking potato.
Because on your calendar, the world would have ended about 20 years ago.
I'm sort of shuffling around going,
if I just give a little bit of circumstantial context.
Right.
Is it fair to say that our producer for the Luke and Pete show went away for a week and you assured her we didn't need another producer, we'd be fine, you'd do it, and you put out today's episode yesterday by accident?
Look,
Did that happen or not?
I edit and upload upwards of 10 shows a week. It's fixture congestion. It's the Club World Cup. I don't need more shows to upload. I'm a breaking point.
Peter.
My metatarsal's fucked. My podcast Achilles.
When you're talking
answer the question.
Yeah,
Did you do it or not?
Did I do what?
What Luke asked you.
I think they just opened their presents early.
Did you
Greedy
make the
little piggies.
mistake?
Greedy little short piggies.
Did you threaten to undermine the minister?
Would the MP of this studio answer the question?
Well, I'm looking to the future. I'm not looking about the past.
So why did you do it yesterday then?
Marcus, Pete, I think you'll find Peter's been very clear.
I think I'll be very clear.
Yeah, then you want to move on and talk about something else. As do I.
But Vish is onto something there because Jim is actually, despite his on-show persona,
a coward.
Very aggressive and a coward.
Yeah.
So he probably called up
He'd hit a little
Phil
guy.
Rory and
Well, they
said,
always say
I'm not doing it.
They always say bullies are cowards, which always confused me.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he probably went around the streets of North London looking for a little man to punch.
yes, indeed. Yeah.
Yes.
Well, look, it was
Ended up in a school.
Peter.
What?
not on a Sunday.
Not on a Sunday
Let's
school. Sunday school.
A self-inflicted defeat for Arsenal, you might say. Obviously, Saliba getting sent off for dragging down Evan Nielsen after Leandro Trossard's ambitious back pass.
We're going with ambitious, are we?
Yeah.
That's
Jazz.
We're happy with that as an adverb.
It's a jazz chord of a move, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was. I think it was fucking stupid.
Oh, yeah.
I would have said, after Leandro Trossard's fucking stupid back pass. That's what I'd have gone with.
You would have done. You like a swear word, though.
I do.
You rough diamond.
I know. I know.
Well, look, yes, it was ridiculous. The third sending off Arsenal have had in 8 games. They've got to get a hold of themselves.
They're big competitors, aren't they?
They
this
are
Arsenal
big competitors. I did love that though when he was sent off and the cameras immediately panned to old Howie Webb in the stands, earpiece in, texted away. Yes, that's a red card.
But were people putting 2 and 2 together and getting 5 there?
Yes.
Yeah, of course they were.
Well, we're going to make it 55 if you want.
A couple of Arsenal fans I know
Yeah.
have messaged me saying this is corruption.
Yeah,
Right,
It's like Howard Webb does have to go to games.
Yeah, but that is actually the real reason why Jim's not on the show is to save himself from himself.
He's doing a true crime podcast
With Howard Webb.
With Howard Webb.
Yeah.
He
Webb didn't have to smuggle himself into the ground though in the laundry basket.
yeah.
What was he doing at the Painfo outside the Best Buy? That's the big question.
Do you not think that so apparently he was listening to on the earpiece a publicly available stream available to all of the broadcasters.
Oh, he's listening to Football Ramble.
He's listening around, wasn't he? Yeah.
Texting people, get on
get
this.
in there, yeah.
It's Saturday the mailbag, is it? Oh.
and so everyone's very upset about that. But I mean, did he need to be wearing the earpiece? Does it presumably?
We cannot be getting
Peter,
these days.
Does he need to hear the? Does he need to?
We cannot
it just
be here.
invites idiocy.
Well, I think though that
Should he be wearing clothes? We don't know if he's wearing a wire.
Yeah, exactly. Howard Webb needs to be Billy Bollock naked. To
Wear a
every
big
game.
hat and some AirPods, and you wouldn't even know.
Yeah,
Marcus Pete's just he's a tech guy.
Just asking the questions.
Do you
Yeah.
need to do that, Howard?
Use a bone inductive speaker in your throat.
Oh, I don't know.
Come on.
He has got options, I think, and he would be wise to take
Chose
one
the
of
wrong
them.
one.
Well, Declan Rice said, we've kicked ourselves in the foot 3 times this season.
Yeah, well, you've done one of them, Declan.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, it is pretty piss poor. You've got to say, 3 red cards in 8 league games. That is pretty bloody ridiculous, and it's cost them dearly. You mentioned the Declan Rice one there, of course. One might say a little bit unlucky against Man City.
It cost them the Brighton game at home.
But that's it, the Declan Rice one.
You know, the ludicrousness of it is this is the first red card they've got, which hasn't been because of a yellow for kicking the ball away.
Yeah.
Right.
Which is mad this early in the season.
If the games in which they drop points were wins, I'm not saying they would have been, but if they were, they'd be top of the league by 3 points.
Do you know what
Yeah.
the thing that frustrated me the most about this weekend is the fact that you've got a couple of big calls on red cards and obviously could have sent off. We'll talk about Spurs in a bit, and a lot of VAR. Right. I was at Fulham versus Aston Villa, and none of us could believe Joachim Andersen got sent off for that. I couldn't even believe it was given as a foul on Ollie Watkins.
Yeah.
And the way Ollie Watkins looks up as well, so he's smart forward play.
You're saying Fulham are a little club and they don't get this respect.
That's exactly what I'm saying. And I said, we were saying a few of us who sat round there because it happened right in front of us. And I said,
because this isn't in the running
Vish,
order,
if you
is
don't
it?
mind, all right. If Man United had not turned it round against Brentford, you wouldn't be here. Okay, so and a few of us were saying, well, that's just absolutely outrageous, and of course it's given. And I was like, well, they're going to go to town on the sort of match of the day later. One replay of the thing. One.
That was the only thing keeping you warm.
Yeah.
Like, don't worry, tonight the Lineker and the lads will put it right.
Don't worry, we'll get our just. As loath as they have to go back to
acoustics.
Bournemouth Arsenal, we have to.
Going back down to it's a lovely place to go, by the way. Bournemouth. Isn't
Oh,
it?
yeah, palm trees.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Not
You got
quite
palm
the English Riviera,
no.
but you can see it from there.
You got palm trees from in Southend, so I don't think palm trees necessarily
True.
maketh the place.
Yes, but I like them.
But I like them.
They've
Let's
got,
have
a lot
more
of
of them.
they've got a lot of imported sand in Bournemouth.
Right.
In fact,
That wasn't worth derailing us.
Yeah.
What?
It wasn't worth derailing us.
What
for
do you
that.
mean? I'm just saying palm trees does not make a nice place.
Makes it the playtheth.
Maketh the place.
Pete, save it for yesterday.
Exactly.
Yes, but I still like them, Pete.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine.
And I do like Bournemouth.
Me and Marcus think Bournemouth's a nice place.
Yeah.
Can we talk about the game now?
I think they're a nice team as well. They play good football. But the thing is, right, so you mentioned Man City there about the type of performances they can put in that they often don't get credit for. This, to me, is a big difference between Arsenal and Man City. When Arsenal go down to 10 there, OK, Martinelli's a great chance, but it comes from an error. Really, Arsenal, after that sending off, everyone thought, well, this is a great chance for Bournemouth to go and win this. If it's Manchester City and they get a red card, you think, oh, this makes it interesting.
Oh, no, we've made them angry.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that's a big difference between the two sides. Man City, if they get a sending off, you're right.
They get it done,
You
though.
still think they're still the favourites for the game. Whereas Arsenal, when they went down to 10, you go, oh, we'll worry about them here.
They also went down. They went behind it against Fulham, didn't they? Turned it around. Man City, they get it. They just get it done. You know, and Arsenal. I know what you're saying about the Martinelli chance coming from an error, but if you look at the game in its entirety, it looks bad because it's a 2-0 and therefore it's a comprehensive defeat away from home. But actually, they had enough chances to do something.
Yeah.
And the second goal comes from an absolutely extraordinary error. I mean, it says something when, you know, Leandro Trossard's decision to make that back pass wasn't the worst back pass of the game.
Yeah.
Because Kiwior
Kiwior,
completely lost his mind.
Yeah.
And then obviously David Raya has to bring down, well, doesn't have to, but just brings down Evan Nilsson again, and there's a penalty.
Which I didn't think was a red card either.
No.
But it was another one that, you know.
No, but there was definitely a penalty, and that's the end of the game.
But we shouldn't skirt over Christie's goal.
Oh, it's lovely.
What a move.
It's a great move. A beautiful move from a set piece, wasn't it?
Yeah, from a corner. Well,
Yeah.
I love a bit of that because I'm sure that there's a lot of set piece routines that are tried and they don't happen. But when one comes off like that, it's absolutely
lovely,
delicious.
yeah.
Also against a team that have turned set pieces into
an art form.
to a lethal weapon for themselves.
Into artful butchery, yeah.
Yeah, artful butchery is probably the right word for it, given how they approach it. But I mean, this really highlighted how much they missed Ødegaard. Because obviously creatively they weren't particularly great.
Saka as well.
But Ødegaard in particular, because not only is he a creative force, but he's one of their best pressers. He wins the ball back ridiculously well for someone that Gary O'Neil would bully in the street. He also is such an important. I don't know what the right word for it is, but he's such a useful, I suppose, gauge of like where the other players need to be. You can almost set your watch by what Arsenal are trying to achieve by how high up he is on the pitch, generally how central he is, and it feels like everyone else takes their cues around him, and when he's not there, they look a little bit dishevelled would be the right word. You're not entirely sure who's owning space when he's not there in the middle, and I suppose that's a criticism of the players to a point, because you think that you've got to find a way of working without him here, because you're probably not going to have him for another week now.
Is that because Mourinho's not used to it, though?
I suppose, yeah.
He was like proper like homesick at Newcastle, bad back level in this match. Sort of thing. But he just
I was surprised he played that far forward for his first game. But
that's, I mean, the positioning I think was all wrong. And I really enjoyed this match. It was really bloody fascinating. But trying to cover for Ødegaard and Saka, you are always going to miss a player like that. But you just sort of think that for this match, Arteta, Iraola just kind of got in his head a little bit, and Arteta just felt like, well, we've got to create stuff, so I'm going to allow every player to inhabit spaces that they don't normally inhabit. And for that, they just kind of dragged them, set their own blocks around a little bit, and there was just too much space in the middle, and Mourinho just looked a little bit lost. And he's playing in a 3, wasn't he? So like it's a weird situation for him to be in when he's so fresh to the Premier League. Obviously, it's a bit of a return, but
It's his first Premier League start, right?
it was a bold. I don't know.
I thought Bournemouth are good, and we have to say we talked a lot about Arsenal there, and you're right to point that out, Pete. But like Bournemouth were good, and they're a really well coached team, and it's quite interesting because despite being down to 10 men for a large portion of the game, what was it, an hour? Pretty much just over an hour.
Yeah, I mean,
Arsenal still had more of the ball than Bournemouth. but Bournemouth got it done. But so because what I'm trying to say by that is I'm saying that some coaches would be like, right, we've got a real chance here.
But he knew we could pick them off.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
But it would have been tempting to try and take the game to them.
Yeah, but Iran has been brilliant. Obviously, we know this. But Bournemouth now, like, you wouldn't even mention the word relegation down there, would you?
No.
They are a solid mid-table Premier League side. Remarkable the job he's done and continues to do.
And a lot of credit should go to the players as well, because their consistency has carried through into this season. Bear in mind they lose Solanke, who's such a key figure in everything they did last season. But someone like Semenyo, maybe I'm not surprised actually, because you think of someone like Brian Mbeumo still at Brentford, and I suppose there are a plethora of wide players, just generally in football at the moment. But he's someone who consistently is putting performance after performance. And actually, he was probably more diligent in this game that they win, whereas more often than not, he's the main driver of everything creative they do. And someone like Marcus Tavernier as well, like just a gorgeous left foot. There's a lot of working pieces there. You can throw Cook into that mix as well, but they're a stable mid-table side because they have a settled team.
Yes.
And I feel like you could name their 11
and an impressive
from week to week. And a very impressive manager. Yeah.
And who've obviously known Arteta for a very long time. Man City have to go to the Vitality on November the 2nd, so they've got to go there and get something.
They've
got to go there and get something.
Bournemouth are the Kingmakers.
The Kingmakers.
Last minute winner, John Stones header.
Go to the Riviera.
It's not the Riviera, but it's quite close to there. Right. You're going to get a lot of fucking pelters if you keep saying that.
Where is the Riviera?
That's like in Devon, more towards like Torquay.
Isn't that just like ironic? Kind of?
Yeah, I thought it was
but Sandbanks is right down that way.
I don't think
that's the English Riviera.
I don't think it counts.
I thought. See, I know what you're talking about, but some people do refer to it.
They're allowed to derail it.
I know, yeah.
Unbelievable.
What's the channel then?
The channel is a body of water.
Right.
So what's an L?
Yeah, goodness knows.
Torquay, Paynton, Brixham, and South Devon.
Is that
that's what I'm looking at in front of me here.
Okay.
From EnglishRiviera.co.uk.
Well,
do your own research. Yeah,
on the website.
There you go.
Oh, apparently Pete Donaldson is cool. Where do you read that? PeteDonaldson.com. Yeah.
Well, anyway, let's.
What was the website you made about Marcus?
Big Bangers. Is that still up?
I don't know, but does it go through to my Twitter feed?
BigBangers.co.uk. Site can't be reached. I did not keep up repayments.
Can I just say, there's zero chance Pete's remembered to pay that bill. No. There's just absolutely no chance.
Anyway, let's move on from people who don't pay bills. Spurs 4, West Ham 1, the Harry Redknapp derby.
Yeah.
We won £50 for Prostate Cancer UK after our bet builder with LiveScore Bet came in.
Well done, lads.
Bloody
First one of the
Nora.
season.
Come on. How about that?
Bit of money for charity.
How
Great stuff.
about that? Peter, did you watch this game with your...
Frank Champion?
With your father-in-law.
So Frank Champion has posits that whenever I watch West Ham with him, they always lose. And to be fair... the 9 or 10 times that I've watched it with him, they have lost.
Yeah.
So he's obviously looking forward to his 80th birthday trip to the Everton match with me. I wasn't watching it, but I had to drive over to pick up a dog from his house. It was my dog. He's not dealing. He's not starting a weird Frank Champion puppy farm.
Got any dogs?
They were 1-0 up when I arrived. I went, hey, 1-0, great news. Instantly, obviously, fell apart, and the curse continues.
Oh, no. Well, Hyun Min Song, it's fair to say, kind of ran the show for Tottenham Hotspur on his return. His goal put him into the top 20 all-time Premier League top scorers, 123, 2 behind Nicky Anelka and 3 behind Robert Keane.
He's been looming at that door for a little while, hasn't he? It turns out
he's now booted the door open.
He has, yeah.
Very impressive, really. But he was on Song was Son.
Doesn't work. Go on.
It does work.
I think it wasn't too bad.
It's fine, Vish. You've got one yourself, then say it.
Yeah, fair. Sorry.
We could look to be our own critic, wouldn't we, Vish? Sitting there fucking, chipping off at someone else's good effort.
I've got to go out into the street and have people pick on me.
So let's not have a civil war here.
Little boy unions.
Next time,
join the little boy union with us.
Vish, next time you think about
the battle of little
Marcus, maybe ask yourself, are you thinking he's trying his best or not? And if he is trying his best, what more can he do?
Is that his level?
See what you're doing? You're empowering them.
I might have to play both sides here.
Which you do regularly.
Yeah.
Mohamed Kudus was...
this was a hilarious sending off.
Okay, he wasn't playing both sides. I just need to say that to be clear. But scoring a goal and then looking like he really wanted to get sent off. One slap in the face, and he was like, no one saw that. Right, I better do another one then.
How did he not get sent off for the 2 kicks?
Van
de Ven on the floor.
I mean, there's that as well.
What was he? I mean, he was quite clearly fired up, but this comes after,
Ref, I'm fired up, mate.
Yeah.
Well, it comes after he's not had a good time of it in a West Ham shirt so far. Even worse time playing for Ghana. Gives the apology, of course, after, big bust up with Lopetegui, da-da-da-da. He must be just so pumped for it, and obviously scoring early, and then it all capitulated.
And he played well.
Well, indeed he did, but now, sent off, obviously, he'll miss whatever the punishment is. It's just odd behaviour.
It was a hilarious passion
pushing Vicky van der Ven's face, and then, again, not happy with that. Sarri thought, right, I'll have a push of your face as well.
There's also no situation that Richarlison can't make worse, is there? He came legging over. He came legging over. Like, the thing I don't mind about that is if you're not someone who's tough, right? I understand they're all professional athletes. They're all pretty tough at one level, but there'll be tough people on the pitch and non-tough people. If you're not tough, I'm fine for you not to get involved. Yeah. Don't leg it over there like you are tough, and as soon as someone touches you, throw yourself on the floor again. The still image of the Kudus red card is amazing because the referee's got the red card in the air.
Richie's kind of like in a headlock position, but like on his way down.
Yeah, and also at one point, Van der Ven and Richarlison are lying on the floor with their hands on their face, and because you've just seen the passage of play, that nothing really's happened to them.
No, and even with Van der Ven, you think, oh, come on. But okay, he got a hand in the face, and we know what they're like. But like Richarlison, what are you doing?
Yeah.
You think it's a game?
Also, you ran into him, and you were so uncoordinated in the way you ran into him that you hit his head.
Yeah.
He didn't headbutt you.
Like Sarr took one and he just stood there. It's absolutely fine.
He deserved to be sent off. It was just a hilarious situation.
Well, he could have been sent off 3 times. He could have done a Dean Windass, got 3 reds in one set. But it was a great win for Spurs, though. Much better from them. I say much better from them. I mean, they've been pretty decent this season. I think sometimes when it doesn't work out, you have a game like the Brighton game, everybody can be quick to talk about Postecoglou and the way they play. But
they're really tepid against Arsenal.
You keep saying that, and I understand, but I mean, Arsenal make it very, very difficult, and it was
the manner of it, though.
But Arsenal are a better side than Spurs. But I think by and large, I think Spurs have looked all right this season.
But they have used their Old Trafford voucher. Don't forget that.
That is true. Yeah. That is. And
West Ham have a Manchester United voucher coming up next as well.
Yeah. But 4-1 in a game like this is exactly what they need. Get them going.
Bit of a derby game for them as well.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, and the other important part of this was they went 1 behind and they only equalised 36 minutes in, and there was a little bit of murmur from the crowd because there was a lot of passing back and forth. There were crosses going over from one wing to the other without necessarily finding anyone in the middle. So there was a bit of tension there that they were able to dissipate.
The second half, they crushed them.
Battered them. And also West Ham decided. I don't know why they chose to do this, but they've done it a few times this season. They decided to get rid of their midfield.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to continue to do that going forward, but they've certainly done it a lot already this season.
It wasn't a good idea. Lopetegui apologised to supporters again and said, we are sure we are going to have better moments. Well, because he apologised after 3-0 defeat to Chelsea last month as well.
It's not been good for them, and given the strengthening they've done, the recruitment they've been involved in, I think you can be if you're a West Ham fan, you should be expecting better.
The ferryman's stock is rising.
I was about to say, is it a third time that they turn to him?
One last crack at the big time. Yeah.
Get Moisey in. Yeah. All right, everybody. After this, Southampton, they throw away a 2-goal lead.
Brilliant.
Sorry, Saints fans. We have to talk about it. Southampton 2, Leicester City 3. A 98th minute winner that completed a dramatic comeback for Leicester, proving once again that 2-0 is a stupid scoreline.
That was just bleak, yeah.
Like, really is.
And you know what I think made it a little worse, and it's probably not for me to say, but it's probably for something for
Southampton fans. Was it the 98th minute winner?
No, I'll say it. I don't mind.
Worse than that. I thought Russell Martin having a go at the non-named player, quote unquote, that should have been marking Ayew or should have been on the edge of the box at least. Yeah, I mean, it felt like a contradiction of the principles that he was so happy to talk about, before the start of the season, about the team working as a whole, working together on this like very specific vision and ethos that they weren't gonna, compromise at any stage. And I thought it was a bit off because it's like, I appreciate obviously the emotion of losing a game in that manner lends itself to you saying that kind of stuff.
Well, let me say the quote then, because with regards to that winner, he said, "We're down to 10 men, we have a few subs on, but one person had one job to do, and that would have stopped that goal, and they didn't. It's not about detail or lack of work, it's about taking responsibility and doing what you were asked to do," and he didn't name the player. And you think to yourself, he's fuming and basically singling out someone. I mean, presumably they would know who that was. But you can understand they're under the cosh. They're hanging on for a point. They were 2 up, it's 2-2, they're down to 10. And everyone's just basically, get everybody in the box.
Yeah, and specifically like a small bit of the box.
Exactly, yeah. And it was a shame, actually, because Ramsdale's, who's done pretty well since going to Southampton, he's made a lot of saves. That one, I know it comes through a pile of bodies. I'm not saying it's an error necessarily, but I think a keeper of his quality maybe touched disappointed that he didn't manage to push it round the post.
I agree.
But I appreciate,
it's hectic. To sit quite late, didn't he?
It's hectic, and as I say, it kind of goes through a bit of a crowd.
It was also a bit sad. He pointed to the person in front of him, which he felt was obstructing his view, in the hope for it to be offside, and it was one of his players.
Yeah, maybe that's what Russell Martin thought. He was like, "Was it him? Was he? You should have seen." Yeah, I agree with you.
Just inject this. Just inject me. It's
lovely stuff, isn't it?
Because Pompey won their first game in a
well done.
So,
in a different league.
Luke's currently climbing a palm tree, getting himself a coconut to have a drink.
I mean, that doesn't mean to say that where he's doing that is a good place.
No,
or the English Riviera.
Yeah,
there are palm trees on Leon Solent where I grew up. So,
yeah,
okay.
I got a palm tree in my garden.
Yeah. Along with the pampas grass.
Yeah, that's in the window, not in the garden.
Is that right?
Yeah.
No, it's in the garden.
Oh, is it?
I think so.
Okay.
So I'm told.
Did you guys see?
It's a swingers thing. That's why we're laughing.
Thanks, Marcus.
I just want to make sure everyone's on board.
No, they'll get it. Oh, if they know, they know. They'll come over. Don't worry.
If they know, they know.
Did you see
1996 Swingers?
Yeah. No, not the movie, you fucking idiot. Actual Swingers. Sean Connery in it.
I'm sure.
Someone tell him later.
I'm sure Vish knows about the pampas grass.
Yeah.
Swingers.
No, I don't know. What is this?
Do you not know what swinging is?
No, I know what swinging is.
Well, there you go then.
So if you put a pineapple in your window, people know you're down.
Upside down pineapple in the trolley, I think, in the supermarket.
What?
Yeah, I heard that recently.
What's that one?
Yeah, that's a new one.
What is that?
Like little TikTok trend, apparently.
But what does it mean? Is that
yes. Oh no. Oh, that's because it makes. It flavours things.
It makes things
Oh
juicier.
no, I don't think that's related.
not a swingers thing?
No, but it does. It does. No, I think it is.
How do you know that?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Jaffa cakes and pineapple, but yeah.
Jaffa cakes, Rio Ferdinand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
How about that?
Yeah.
Where were we?
I wanted to say, did anyone see Wout Fass's almost own goal?
Unbelievable.
Goodness me, it would have been an all-timer.
What
It was an absolute bullet.
Was Danny Baker going, "Oh, that was nearly a third video"?
It's such a good save.
It was a great save.
And the keeper's right with his rights to say, "I shouldn't have to deal with that.
Yeah.
That's extra work. I don't get paid extra for that."
I was shouting pass back.
I think he was shaking his head because he heads it with such ferocity.
I know.
It almost looked like, sorry, I forgot why I was there.
Yeah, it was wild. I thought this game was brilliant, by the way, and not just because of the result, but it was a fantastic advert for the game. It was a fantastic advert for the Premier League.
Yeah, all right.
It was great.
Chaos.
And what was interesting is that Southampton over the last couple of weeks, and maybe this is slightly tempered by the fact that they're sending off. Which, by the way, Ryan Fraser, one of the all-time great cameos. I think he came on, I think he had 2 passes, of which he completed 1 in 9 minutes and then was sent off. That's going to hurt you.
It's lovely.
That's the last thing Russell Martin needs.
Yeah.
But I thought over the last couple of games, they've not seeked to dominate the ball as much, which is interesting because we've talked a lot about this in the opening stanza to the season where Southampton can't come in and play like this. At one point, maybe 2 or 3, maybe at the point of the first international break, I think they were top of the possession stats for the whole league.
Yeah.
Certainly in the top 1 or 2. And now they're much further down. I don't think they're looking to dominate the ball as much. Maybe because they've had players sent off, maybe because they're playing against better teams here and now. I don't really know. But it is interesting. They've tried to soak it up against Leicester and hit them, which is quite weird at home to a fellow promoted side, and then it didn't work anyway, which is quite a damning indictment on Martin generally, I think.
It worked for a bit, but I know what you mean. But, you look at the table, and Wolves are bottom, as we've talked about, but Wolves have had a really tough fixture list, and we expect them to improve. Above them, Palace, again, people would think they would improve. Ipswich Town, let's see how they go. And then you've got Everton and West Ham and Leicester, and then you're kind of away there. You look at Southampton and you really do worry for them. It might not be what you're thinking, Luke, but
I'm not worried.
You might be concerned that they will have to go to Portsmouth next season, and nobody wants that, quite frankly, because they won their first game of the season, didn't they?
I just said that, and you said no one cares.
And then 10 players got stuck in a lift.
They did.
Why did they get stuck in a lift? This is stuff.
I think it might be the long hand of Matt Le Tissier's behind the scenes influence. Not happy with it.
Well, speaking of Southampton, how about this? We got an email, because he emailed show@footballramble.com. Craig Swanborough, who said, thanks for mentioning the Southampton FC charity match the other day. I was the goal scorer for the Russell Martin team.
Wow.
And I'm a Saints fan.
Good on him.
Awful finish, but lifelong dream achieved.
Yeah.
How about that? That was, of course, the charity match featured Russell Martin 11 versus the Saints legend 11 during the international break.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Yeah, indeed. But, and I want to say, if you've shared a pitch with Matt Le Tissier and Ricky Lambert,
any event,
or even a drink,
any event,
then do get in touch, because we need to know what's
any
going
event,
on
particularly if it's been outside,
Yeah.
surrounded by lots of other like-minded people,
Or afters with Matt Le Tissier and Ricky Lambert.
hopefully with pamphlets.
Yeah. and
Pampas grass.
Pampas grass, yeah, exactly, yeah. Oh, my goodness. How about
I'd love to know from Craig what type of goal it was. He doesn't really go into huge amount of detail describing his goal.
Was there footage available?
Well, he said awful finish, so I think he's probably thinking, look, it went in, that's enough.
Yeah.
They all count.
I don't want you to see it. I think he would have included the video if he was proud of it.
Maybe.
Are we right in saying so there were two I suppose members of the public who scored in that game, because did we also mention that one of them missed a penalty? So is that presumably Craig didn't miss a penalty?
Well, there was two members of the public who played in the game.
Well, who scored? Yeah, because there was someone who scored who missed a penalty.
Right.
Oh, I see what you mean.
So was that Craig?
Could have been him.
Oh, that's maybe.
He's left that out, hasn't he?
Yeah.
He has left that out. Ooh.
Hopefully, if it's not him, the guy who did miss the penalty, he's also listening to the
Come
round.
on, come on, Craig, give us both sides.
Yeah, that's what Lambert and Le Tissier do. They give us the other side.
Pete, you're someone who's not saved a penalty against David James. How do you feel about that?
Well, I didn't see what happened, so I mean, it's hard to sort of. I wouldn't want to judge a fellow professional.
I did not see it.
I wouldn't want to judge a fellow professional.
Do you think Russell? Because in our predictions for the start of the Premier League season, we had to pick the first manager to leave.
Certainly, Jim and I go for Nuno. Looks quite unlikely.
Well, I went for Maresca.
Yeah, well, yeah, but it's Chelsea, yeah.
But yeah. Do you think it'd be Russell Martin? Are you saying that you think it'd be Russell Martin?
I'm not. Why did
It looked a bit like it might be Ten Hag at one point.
Yeah, I mean that one. Surely, if you've got Ten Hag on that, you're thinking, come on, bring it home for crying out bloody loud.
I didn't put Ten Hag because I didn't want to jinx it.
No, yeah.
Look at it
I
now.
wanted to happen too
It's still
hard.
going.
Yeah.
So it's your fault.
Maybe.
It is your fault.
Do you want to hear a list of the teams who have scored fewer goals than Man United in the Premier League this season?
Go on.
Ipswich, Crystal Palace, and the aforementioned Southampton.
Oh, you see.
Nice.
So there you are.
Well, table doesn't lie. Look at where they're languishing. We're in 11th. Little green arrow next to us on the way up.
Sounds like they're being very resourceful, Manchester United. They're scoring so little.
Thank you for noticing.
Very
Peter.
efficient.
Can they break
Negative 2 goal difference.
Can they break into the top 10? Only time will
Shouldn't
tell
have.
everybody.
They're goal neutral.
They are.
If you're 11th, when they scroll down to the second half, you're top.
Yes,
They're
very
not
nice.
they're goal agnostic.
Goal agnostic,
They
yeah.
understand the idea that goals probably could exist, but they don't fully believe in them.
But as Vish says, they are top of their part of the table.
Yeah. Exactly.
Thank you very much for listening to the Football Ramble, part of the Acast Creator Network. Myself and that guy Vish are back tonight for Ramble Reacts after Nottingham Forest play Crystal Palace. Will Palace pump them enough that the owners go, you know what, Nuno, you're not for us, and I'll be proved right.
More important discussion point for me and the Ramble listeners out there: will Vish be able to stay sober till 10:30?
Outrageous.
It's a Monday.
I don't like the way that Luke in particular besmirches your good name with the red wine.
I don't think his name is good, and I didn't say red. It's all types of wine.
Yeah, I was about to say, I don't think it's Luke's fault that what Vish does.
Marcus, can I also say, Pete put together a graphic for Vish at his entrance into the live stage at the Ramble Palladium. It was basically 90% cigarettes.
And a cricket bat.
One cricket bat.
And a very nice bottle of red wine.
Yeah, very nice
Let's
bottle of red
not
wine.
give away live show secrets.
No, exactly. It's a spoiler.
Live show
Look, who
secrets.
knows? We may do some more.
Well, listen, we've got some more tickets to sell coming up, so just don't stitch us
Oh,
up.
hey,
Okay,
hey, how about that? And then maybe we'll use a ballot.
But Vish isn't in it. I haven't told him yet, so don't say anything.
Oh, okay, fine.
Well, no, I know it's because Pete put the tickets up yesterday.
Thanks for watching a clip from the Football Ramble podcast. Don't forget to subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're feeling extra generous, why don't you like this video? Why don't you like this video?